Everybody, and thanks for joining us. Tom Leyden with you for the first time, Jessica Thomson, in the Westwood Living mobile recording studio, otherwise known as my car. Jessica is joining us today to talk about a great program that she and her family have put together. And we are within steps of the memorial that was put into place for Jessica's son, Eddie Thomson, who tragically was taken from us in 2017. And under all of these circumstances, it's wonderful to meet you.
Likewise.
And I'm so grateful that you're giving us this opportunity to learn more about what you and your daughter Fiona have done. And really just an opportunity for me to give you the stage and share as much of your story as you'd like to share with people from Westwood. So why don't I just tee it up that way and give us a little bit of background about what you've experienced and how you've turned something so tragic into something so powerful.
Yeah. So thank you. So as you mentioned, we lost Eddie in 2017. We wanted to find a way to honor him and to continue his legacy of the things that he should have had the opportunity to do. And something that we had talked about that had really stuck with me and become part of Eddie's life was helping others who had food insecurity. He had a lot of questions about it and really wanted to find a way to help. So we had talked about donating food to the food pantry. And honestly, for his 5th and 6th birthday, he forewent birthday presents for donations to the food pantry.
Wow.
Because he thought that that was really important. And he understood he'd still get presents, right? Because he was a little boy. But that his friends could do something and donate to a better cause. He'd still have plenty of his toys.
And this stemmed from conversations that you had had with him where he seemed to have a bit more maturity in this category than most kids do. What level of curiosity did he have, and what led him down this path of being empathetic to other people who didn't have maybe the same resources that he did?
Yeah, I mean, he was always an empathetic child. But yes, this conversation in particular and why the food drive became something important to me is because it really stuck with me that it was a mature conversation for someone who this started when he was 5. He just couldn't understand what it would be like for someone to have to wonder where their next meal would come from and not have the choice of what that meal might be. And so for some reason, that conversation that we had where he asked me what it's like and how that happens to somebody, what those circumstances are. And I always have been very honest with the kids and straightforward with them that, we're fortunate, but circumstances can change for somebody. And so I had said to him, you get to go down and choose what you want to eat. You have choices, but that could happen to anybody. And I think that hit him kind of closely. And he thought, if that could happen to anybody, I want to make sure that I can help out. And so we talked a lot about donating food and he said, well, it has to be something healthy, right? We need to make sure they have something healthy. And I said, absolutely, right? You want to make sure that people have nutritious food, especially in a circumstance where you can't rely on your next meal. But he also wanted to make sure that we gave a treat because everybody deserves a treat, is what he said to me. And that line has stuck with me forever. But that's really inspired a lot of the work behind the food drive.
And so now we enter Fiona, your daughter, who is how old now?
She's 11.
Okay, so Fiona was, what, 5 or maybe 4 and a half? Yeah,
yep.
5 years old back in 2017. So she lived through all this and persevered through it, and now is part of this giving back process. She's a member of the Girl Scouts?
Yep.
And how is she tying together this whole thing where she's able to be a part of this giving back?
I mean, Fiona has embraced this wholeheartedly. She helps every year with the flyer, with making sure that we're publicizing the food drive, collecting, sorting the food. And so she has enlisted the Girl Scouts to help out. So this year we're going to kick off the food drive with a cookie donation to the food pantry. So starting a year or two ago, at the end of every cookie season, we have cookies left over, right? We also collect donations as part of the cookie booths and buy boxes of cookies to donate. And so we bring those to the food pantry as a service unit. The town of Westwood comes together and donates those cookies, and that's part of the something, a treat for somebody. So she has, really taken to that and helping us collect the food and donate the cookies. And then the Girl Scout troops come together at the end of the food drive and do the sorting before we bring the food to the food pantry.
So how does the food drive actually work? I mean, what does somebody need to know if they want to become engaged in this and be a part of it?
we need to secure the spots again for this year, but Roach Brothers is always a participant. The library has boxes. We've already locked those down for the year. I actually met with someone this morning. We're going to do a website this year so that folks can get more information, eddiesfooddrive.com. So very straightforward. And then we work with the food pantry directly. What do they need? What are the foods that they want? And folks just need to bring the food to those drop-off locations. The elementary schools, the extended day programs collect the food. And I've got an amazing army of people in town that help out with bringing that food to my house. And then we sort through it.
I would imagine this has probably become a bit larger than you would have anticipated when you started.
It has become wonderfully large, but I want it to be bigger. So I think last year, talking to the food pantry, the timing of this food drive basically carries them through the summer, which is a tough time.
That's great.
Right? A lot of folks aren't around to donate food in the summer. So being able to help out and have that impact is more than I could ever hope for. And we've also, I think because of the pandemic, we couldn't do the food drive. Folks started giving monetary donations. Last year, we donated over 2,000 food items and over $3,000.
And that goes right to the food pantry, and
It
then
all
they
goes
can do
directly to the Westwood Food Pantry to use as they see appropriate.
And I know a little bit about the food pantry, but I want to give you the opportunity to talk more about it because you've been so uniquely associated with it, more so than me. What should people know about it? I mean, I know, for instance, it's up by the Council on Aging.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I've seen it.
Yep.
Not much more than that. So tell me more about what I should know about the Westwood Food Pantry.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful resource to support our community. So for folks in Westwood that are in a situation where they're facing food insecurity and they need some assistance, the food pantry helps them out. The population in Westwood, it is, I think, probably more swayed towards the elderly community in town. But there are families of all makeups that go there, and they have different time slots that folks sign up for. And you have a rotating time slot. So the folks who are, first thing in the morning for a period of time will then be the second or third shift later, just to keep everything fair. And they collect, all sorts of different, non-perishable goods that they will be able to share with folks in the community who need it.
And this eddiesfooddrive.com is the website,
Yes,
right?
yep.
Fantastic. Let me ask you a couple questions just about, for instance, the memorial that's, 100 yards away from us right now. We see some dogs prancing about here at Buckmaster Pond. But how meaningful has the support of the community been to you and your family in these 7 years? I mean, we come here, and I've spent many days sitting on that bench and, thinking about Eddie and thinking about your family. So how's the support been beneficial to you?
It's the only way we've done this. As you can imagine, this has been the worst thing that you could ever imagine going through. But having a town like Westwood and a community who has really held us close and helped make sure that Eddie's memory is continued, that folks think about him and support us through the most difficult times. I don't know how we would have done. I don't know how we would have eaten for that first, period of time. Folks brought us food and came and, entertained Fiona. Just everyone has really rallied around us. And I just don't know that some days I would have been able to take one foot in front of the other without the community holding me.
And it's also amazing, and I want you to take this to heart too. I mean, you've never met me, right?
Right.
and I've known very intimately your story, and in many ways felt hesitant to reach out. Like, who am I? She doesn't know me from Adam. But I think that you'd be amazed at how many people that you don't even really know think about you, probably say some prayers for you and your family. And now you're giving all of us this opportunity to engage and give back and feel like we are a part of the recovery process and passing it on. So in that regard, I say thanks. And I hope you should be encouraged by that, because there are a lot of people who I think will step up and do this. So you have a vision, and I think you've done a great job starting it. I think you and Fiona deserve a ton of credit. All of Fiona's friends who are rallying around this must have a great time knowing that they're doing something good. What sort of last words do you have to people who you have the opportunity to chat with here and tell them the story a bit more?
I just want to say thank you. We've had so much support over the years. The food drive has grown, and it does mean a lot to me, right? Like you said, I don't know everybody who I don't know that maybe thinks of us, but their support and helping us honor Eddie in this way means the world to me. It's a labor of love to do this. It's something productive I can do in the worst of circumstances.
Well, this is a way for all of us to give back. Eddie'sFoodDrive.com. Go check it out. You can learn the details. And please engage and be part of this process. I mean, think about the fact that any donations that we all make here over the course of the next few months can carry the food pantry through the entire summer. So we have a chance to do something really meaningful, really powerful, and we do it with the memory of Eddie Thomson in our heart. And Jessica, thanks to you. And Fiona, if you're listening, thanks to you and all your friends. I appreciate your time and your willingness to talk about this, because that also deserves some credit. You know, it's not easy for a mom to engage in this type of conversation, and I truly appreciate the fact that you are willing to do that.
Thank you.
That's Jessica Thomson. Again, the website is eddiesfooddrive.com. And as always, if there's somebody else you think it would be great for me to have a conversation with them, just reach out, send me an email to tleyden@bestversionmedia.com. I'll find that person. We'll have a conversation, even if it's in the front seat of my car, as this one is, and we'll share it with you right here on the Westwood Living Podcast Network. But for now, for Jessica Thomson, I'm Tom Leyden saying thanks for listening, and so long.